getting divorced, COVID-19, hard lockdown, business shutting down. One word to describe everything is trauma. Like trauma. That was my life between 2019, 2020. Traumatic experience. Hey tribe, hey tribe. Welcome back to the Empowered Tribe channel. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Today is story time, and I'm sorry, you guys, my voice is not so good. I think I'm catching a flu, but I do hope that you do hear me and the sound is not too bad. Yeah. So today I want to invite you guys to my vulnerable space. If I were to be true to myself and if I want to empower other people, I need not to hide certain areas of my life and pretend as if everything is fine or everything is cool about me. It is definitely not. Not everything is going well for me, and I've been hit hard by life. And yeah, so today I'm going to be sharing a very um, sensitive topic, but it is part of my life anyway. It's who I am. It's my life story. It's part of my journey, sensitive as it is. And please note that I do not. My intention is just to share my life story. Maybe someone out there will be assisted, but I'm not going to bash or talk bad or talk down on anyone. So I will try and tread very carefully because yeah, it is indeed a very sensitive topic. Um, I got divorced, and not only did I get divorced, I had to shut down. I had to shut down my business, and during that time, so it was very chaotic time. It was frustrating. It was traumatizing. I just did not know what was like, whether I was coming or going. I had like lost unondomi, so between 2019 and 2020 and 2020 it was too much for me, having to deal with divorce, which is ugly, or which is a traumatic experience rather. Fortunately for me, I did not have like an ugly divorce, but obviously it's a painful experience because no one anticipates it. When you get married, no one gets married to get divorced one day. So when it happens, it's when it happens, it's it's definitely painful, and it doesn't only affect you, it affects your immediate family, it affects your kids. So you need to tread carefully, and at the same time you need to deal with your own emotions. You need to take it all in, and you need to heal. And while I was trying to maneuver all of that, just after I got divorced 6 months later, or yeah, 6 months or so, 6 to 7 months later, and then we were hit hard by the pandemic. And I wasn't like really healed. I wasn't fully recovered from the divorce. I was still dealing with it, and then here we were hit hard with the pandemic. And the worst part was I was not staying closer to my family. I was now forced to to stay alone, just me and my 3 year old at that time, and dealing with this huge traumatic experience of my life, in a foreign city where I knew no one. It was just me, my child, and my ex-husband, and now we had parted ways, so I had to maneuver life on my own. And not only that, when COVID hit, I was running a small business which was doing quite well. But when COVID hit, my clients, between my clients and myself, there was a lot of unnecessities, and I struggled a lot. And I think because I was still going through this divorce thing, it was hard. It was too much for me. It was too much for me to process everything all at once. So when we were hit by lockdown, I was forced to shut down my business, and I had to relocate right in the middle of hard lockdown. So you could imagine what I was going through. My life was a mess at that time, and for me, I had lost Unondumi. So in the process, in all of this, I had lost touch with myself, and it took time for me to be back to the Londomiso I know. One thing I can tell you is the journey of healing. The journey of healing is very lonely, and we do not talk about this like enough. The journey of healing is very lonely. So if you, because no one understands what you really really like feel, and what you really, they just even if you got support, but they cannot like fully understand what exactly you are going through. So for me, there was a traumatic experience, but I'm grateful that here am I today, and I'm able to talk about it, and I'm able to talk about it without being emotional. It took a lot for me to get to this point. Well, back on me getting divorced. I got married 2016 and got divorced 2019. So it was just 2 months, 6 months. It was just 2 years, 6 months into marriage, and things didn't work out, and we had to separate. We had to decide to call it quit, and it was not an easiest thing to do or an easiest decision to make, but it has to be done. I know this may sound controversial, but for me, getting divorced was a blessing in disguise. Not to say that I'm promoting divorce, I'm totally against it. I'm totally against it. I never thought I will ever get divorced. I had no intentions of doing it, but the situation that I was faced with was beyond my control. It was beyond my control. I had to make tough decisions. Please hear me out. I do not by any means condone divorce. But unfortunately for me, it is my truth, and I cannot tell my story without having to mention this part of it. Um, I do not want to dwell much on what conspired for me to actually get divorced, simply because I respect my ex-husband, and I do not want to somehow put him in an awkward position, or sound like I am dragging him down. However, I will share with you guys some of the lessons I took out from my divorce story. As I said, I got married in 2016, and I got divorced in 2019. I had no intentions whatsoever to get divorced, like whatsoever. And believe you me, I tried everything I could. I reached out um, to many people, to every resources that was available for me to save my marriage, but it was indeed beyond my control. So for me, it was painful at the beginning. Um, it was painful at the beginning, but as I was journeying towards my healing, I had to reflect. I had to reflect. So I took almost the whole of 2020. I was not doing anything. I was not in business because of the pandemic. I was dealing with the pandemic, and I had lost my business. Obviously, I had shut down my business. Obviously, and that's when I got to fully take it all in and process it. Because when I got divorced, I still had my business, so it kept me going. It kept me busy, in a sense that I did not really I did not really like feel the hurt. But when I was doing nothing, that's when I actually got hurt, because I was so lonely. I was so I had a lot of questions that were unanswered. So it was a space. I was forced, rather. I was forced to reflect, to ask myself those tough, hard questions though, because guys, we shy away from asking ourselves like hard questions or quality questions. So I had to do, or I had to go through all that process. And one of the things that I figured out, or rather, one of the questions that I kept asking myself a lot was, how did I contribute into this mess that I was in? Because there was no way that it was only my ex-husband who was on the wrong side and I was an angel. I'm by no means an angel. So I had to face that. I had to acknowledge my contributions. I had to acknowledge what did I contribute to the situation. And one of the painful answers I got was, you got into this knowing exactly that it won't work. Not only did you knew, you were also told by people who knew you and who understood you as a person, who understood your vision, who understood your values. They could see that you are heading in a wrong direction. And that was hard for me to accept. Right? It was the very painful answer I could get. But I had to deal with it because I saw most of the red flags before I got married. I saw a whole lot of red flags, but I don't know. I think the excitement of wanting to get of marriage got better of me, and also we were conditioned by society to think that marriage is an achievement, which by no any means I'm not saying it is not an achievement. Each to their own. Um, but it was sold to us in a sense that when someone approaches you and tells you that they want to get married to you, wow, then it was more like you find your worth in it, especially if you've got a child from if you've got a child from outside marriage, and there's someone who wants to get married to you. Unfortunately for me, I can't like really pinpoint what got me so excited so much that I had to ignore all the signs, all the red flags, and continue to get married. And believe you me, it caught up with me badly, badly. Because if you are not living up to your truth, if you are not showing up as your true self, or if you are overlooking things, knowing exactly what you want, what you like, and hope that people will change to accommodate you, you are just playing yourself. You are just fooling yourself. It does not work like that. So in my case, I had this hope that my then husband will change, or my then husband will eventually understand, or will eventually see things as I saw them, will eventually be the person that my ideal person, if you get what I'm saying. Because he was not all bad, but there was those things that were signs that this might not hit into the right direction. So I learned that love alone, just loving someone alone, is not enough when it comes to marriage. That's my point of view. That's my take in this whole thing. At least share um, the same values, or the same values, beliefs, and values with the person you are getting into this lifetime partnership with, and also have some sort of like a common vision for your life. And for me, in as much as there was a whole lot of things that happened in our marriage, but the biggest ones that I can outline, the biggest ones that resulted into my marriage to fall, was the value system, our belief system, and vision. We did not share the same we did not share like the common vision for our lives. That was number one. We were not on par with how things should be done. So it was frustrating, and it always created arguments because um, because no one wanted to change who they were. In as much as you need to sacrifice, and it cannot always be about you, but there are things that you cannot sacrifice, like your values. You cannot sacrifice who you are. You cannot sacrifice your belief system. So if you are getting married, or if you are thinking of getting married, or if you, yes, you need to consider those things before you get married. You need to tread carefully around those things, because they can make or break your marriage. In my case, those were the major things. Those were the major things. There were other things which I would not like to 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 mention here, because as I said, they were just accompanying this whole thing, and they were a result of which they were a result of this, of the main thing. The main thing with us was we did not share same value system, we did not share same beliefs, we had no common vision or whatsoever, you know. And we were both frustrated day in, day out, which then resulted into other things, um, which obviously, in respect of my husband, I will of my ex-husband, in respect of my ex-husband, I will not mention here, because I did not get like consent from him to do this video, so it will be unfair on him, and I do not want to to go on and do like your character defamation, or I did not come here to bash him or whatsoever, or justify whatsoever. But those were the biggest lesson. If you enter into a life committing, if you enter into a life commitment, and be sure that you are entering into this partnership, lifetime partnership, with the person whom you do not only love, but you share the common vision about your life, and at least your belief system and your values do not clash, or else you will be frustrated like the entire time, like I was. And one of the painful thing is, it is more hard. When you are in that situation, it's easy to lose yourself, because you try and be, because you try and be accommodating to this person. You try to adapt to these things, yet you know deep down that this is not how you will want to do things. This is not how you will want your life to go about. But now you are doing it in the sake of marriage, and while doing that, you lose yourself. When they say prevention is better than cure, they are right. You better you better not put yourself in an awkward position, because getting out and healing from it is very difficult. I hope this helps someone, or yes, I hope this helps someone. And again, I need to emphasize, by no means or whatsoever am I saying, or am I condoning divorce. I do not condone it at all. Marriage is beautiful. Marriage is beautiful. Love is beautiful. You just have to do it with the right person. You do not just do it with anybody, because the consequences will hit hard. There is a saying that I love that says, all endings are also beginnings. We just don't know it at the time. So that's why we get frustrated, we get irritated, we feel worthless, and we feel all these kind of emotions, because we do not know at the time that what is ending is that with every ending there is a beginning. So for me, I wouldn't have like, there are a lot of things that I'm doing now that I wouldn't have done should I had not ended, should my marriage not ended, or should I had not gone through that experience. As traumatic as it was necessary for my growth. Again, again, I will keep emphasizing this. I'm not saying people must get married, divorce, so that they will gain some life experiences. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Rather, gather all your information, all your experiences, and get married to the right person, because marriage doesn't only affect you alone, but it affects your kids, it affects your family, it affects everyone who is closer to you. It affects two families that at some point came together to be one family, and now they are caught, they get caught in between. But I also do not condone staying in a relationship, or rather in a marriage, that does not serve you anymore. Staying in any form of partnership that does not serve you anymore. I think for me, that the 2 years 6 months I was married were the longest years ever. I am so glad that I finally found myself. I finally got in touch with Nondumiso again. Though the process, though the journey of healing was not easy, though the journey of finding myself again was the most painful one because of all the reflection that I had to do and because of all the hard truth that I had to swallow and all the contributions and all the I had to forgive myself. I had to I had to deal with a lot of emotions. And I'm glad I finally arrived to where I am. And I continue to do so. I continue to search deeper every day so I could get to know me more. I am learning. No, I am in the process of learning so each and every day. When it comes to my business failure, I think I will do a separate video on that one as to how I kind of bounced back. I had to take that decision to stop working and deal with myself and also um, deal with the pandemic that we were forced to maneuver in. But one thing I like about me is I will do it scared. I will hold myself back a little. I will hold myself back a bit, but still do it anyway. And that is how I rise from failure. That is how I rose from failure because from feeling like a failure, from feeling like I have failed myself, I failed my kids, I failed my business, I failed everything, I failed my dreams. At the end of the day, is what I did about it. I crawled because I had no strength left in me. I had no desire left in me. I was scared. I was frustrated. I felt betrayed by life. I was feeling all sort of negative emotions, but I did it scared. I launched another business scared. I hold myself. Even though I was holding back, I wasn't like giving it like fully until I was completely healed, and I could feel that I needed that healing for many reasons. I needed that healing for many reasons. I needed that break for many reasons that I might not have understood back then, but now I do because there has never been anything I have done for myself that I'm proud of than the journey of getting back to know, than the journey of getting back to myself, than the journey of finding who Nondumiso is and what is Nondumiso is called for, what is Nondumiso was brought for here on earth. It's a very beautiful journey, a lonely one, a stressful one, but a very beautiful one. I hope you get something from my story, and please, I beg of you, no matter how things get hard, exhaust all you could first before you call it quits in your marriage. But also, I want to emphasize that do not stay in a messy situation for too long because it might be harder for you to get out or it might be harder for you to recover from it. Um, there is a saying I got from the book I was reading titled "Who Moved My Cheese?" that say, "Smell your cheese often, so you will know when it had expired." So that's my advice. That is what I'm leaving you with. That you constantly, even in relationships, even in any form of partnership, constantly smell your cheese so that you will know when it is about to expire. So either you start working on it, start fixing it, start finding out what's wrong about it, or you will know when it's time for you to permanently leave the partnership or leave the relationship so that you can allow new things to manifest. I'm so glad that I opened myself up, even though it was against societal norms, but I'm so glad that I went on and that we went on together with my ex-husband with a divorce because I am free. I am free, and I finally got to do things that I love. I finally got to share. I finally got to do things that I love. Number one, I finally got to raise my kids like the way I want to raise them or the way I see it fits. I finally got to got to embrace life again, and I finally got to be happy. I finally got to be happy. Not that I wasn't happy, but I was frustrated for 2.5 years straight. Straight. Like in our household, it was only 10% that we were happy. Most 90% of our time we were unhappy because of the decisions that we took, because we had ignored the red flags, because we had assumed that we can change each other, of which it was not possible. You can never change a person. You just cannot. If a person shows up a certain way, believe them, and it's who they are. If you are willing to be involved with them or to go into life partnership with them, just know that it should be something that you are willing to do, not forcefully. So it must be out of your own free will, and because at the end of the day you won't have anyone to blame, or anyone to yeah, anyone to blame for your decisions. So it should be your decisions. It should be your decision. It should be out of your own free will, and you should be willing to compromise your life, to compromise your values for the sake of your marriage, which I don't think it is wise. That's me signing off. See you guys on the next video.